is just echoing around you with all the bassy, spooky, da. Hello my dudes, welcome back to my channel. I hope we are well. I realize that it is a little bit into the new year. It's March.
What the fuck?
But we're gonna make this video, alright? Because I make it every year and I am gonna follow through. Also, I will admit it took me a while to watch all the movies that I wanted to watch in 2019 because I wanted this list to be complete and I didn't want to like see something later and be like, ah shit, that should have been on my list. And I know there are still things I haven't seen, like I have not seen Uncut Gems, which very possibly could have been on this list. So if you're wondering,
why didn't you say Uncut Gems?
that is why. So I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite films of 2019. Before I start, I'm just going to list a few honorable mentions because I was actually very surprised to realize 2019 was a slammin' good year for movies. Like, we had some great stuff. I remember last year I was making this video and I was like, 2018 sucked.
I am disgusted.
But this year had a ton of great films and I'm so excited about that. Like, cinema, you're coming back. You're doing it. I'm so proud of you, sweetie. So here we go. Honorable mentions. They're on my phone because I cannot remember shit. Alita Battle Angel almost made it into my list. I love Alita Battle Angel. I'm just gonna rattle them off. Little Women, Marriage Story, The Irishman, Doctor Sleep, Ready or Not, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Art of Self-Defense, and Knives Out. Reading this list actually makes me sad. I'm like, oh, those didn't go on in my top 10. They're all so good. I just want you to know that this list is so tight. Like, every movie is so close and could have so easily been moved around and swapped out for something else because I just love all of these pretty much equally. If I could put them all at number one, I would. But I did my best to rank them for you. And I also just want to preface this by saying, this is my opinion.
That's my opinion!
This is what I feel I personally enjoyed the most. Not necessarily what I think was the best piece of cinema, because those are kind of two different things. Does that make sense? So these are the movies that I will definitely watch over and over again for the rest of my life because I just love the experience of watching them and they're great. Okay, shall we go? Let's go! Number 10, Shazam. Yep, Shazam is on my top 10 list.
Oh hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
I thought about this a lot and I was like, you know what? Out of all of these movies, this is the one I have watched the most. I bought it after it came out and I'm pretty sure I've watched it at least 10 times. Because it's just so fucking fun. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the good times. Number 9, Ford vs. Ferrari. Once again, I have this on this list because it was just really fun. And it was really well done. It was just like, I don't know. I just had such a blast watching this movie. I had so much adrenaline. I think Christian Bale and Matt Damon had great chemistry. I love their dynamic. I also am just a huge fan of cars. Like, if you like cars and you like car movies, you generally will probably like this film. There are a lot of people in the world who don't like cars and therefore didn't like this movie. So it's kind of a personal preference thing, but I like the vroom vroom. Yeah. Number 8. Midsommar. I just thought this was one of the most refreshing, twisted, just one of the weirdest movie-going experiences of my life.
What the fuck is going on?
But I loved every single second of it and it was just so good. And I think it deserved so much more recognition. It was just a masterpiece. It was pure art. Unlike anything I've ever seen visually. The story was so interesting. I loved everything about it. Number 7, The Lighthouse. This is another one of those films that is very hit or miss. It's a pretty weird movie, but also a beautiful movie. I think this is one of the most beautiful movies to come out of 2019. I think it was one of the best screenplays. I think it had some of the best performances. Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson stuck in a lighthouse together was just everything. It was a really mystifying experience. It was like a love letter to gothic horror. It was just so good. I think it did a really good job of painting a picture of insanity and isolation and just like the very slow descent into madness. It's a very slow burn. The lighthouse itself is like a monster character. Like, it was just so wild. And I've never been so fixated on a film. Like, I was just so mystified by the experience, and it was so brilliant. Number 6, 1917. In a world where there are a lot of war movies and a lot of them that kind of feel the same, this one was refreshing. This one was so beautifully written, so wonderfully shot and edited, and you could just see the work that went into it and the love of cinema, and the performances were out of this world. This musical score was chilling and so just like made me want to cry all the time. And after thinking about it for a really long time, I think this might be my favorite war movie ever. It's like Saving Private Ryan, 1917, they're like real close. They're very different movies, so it's kind of hard to compare, but I just loved this movie. I left the theater like, wow.
Damn.
The power that has, the intelligence that has.
Number 5, Jojo Rabbit. I loved this movie so much. It was just such a fresh, original idea, and we were lacking those a lot. And you can watch my full review on this, but it was just the perfect blend of everything you want from a movie. It was funny, heartwarming, it ripped your heart out and stomped on it. And it had a really interesting story with great characters and great performances. It just had everything. It checked all the boxes. And I also think it was kind of a bold move. It was pretty brave, pretty risky. It kind of teetered on the line of this is almost offensive, but it was so delicately written and so clever that it never crossed that line. And it was just such a great experience. And I've watched it like 10 times since it came out because I'm obsessed with it.
Oh my God! Ra-ta-ta-ta!
Number 4, Booksmart. I cherish this movie deeply. It's like a modern day Superbad, but with girl best friends. And it's just one of those great, fun, heartwarming, put your fist in the air Breakfast Club style coming of age like teen movies. And it felt fresh and new while also still having that sort of nostalgic old school movie vibe. And I just had such a great time watching it. It's so funny. It's extremely clever. The characters you just love so much. And it was also just really creative and they had fun with it. This is another movie that I have watched at least 10 times since it came out because it's just so good. Number 3, Parasite. I am so happy that this won Best Picture because even though it's not my number 1 favorite film of the year, I think it is the number 1 best film of the year. Does that make sense? I am so happy about this movie. I'm so proud of everyone that made it. I just want to give them all a big fat hug. If you haven't seen this movie, please, for the love of God, watch it because it'll blow your mind. I don't even want to tell you anything about it because I went into it knowing nothing, and I think that is the best way to watch this movie because it is just mind-blowingly awesome. That's all I'm going to say about that. Moving right along. Number 2, Joker. Controversial, I know. Everyone is very hot and cold on this movie. Personally, as a fan of the Joker, as a fan of DC Comics, as a fan of cinema, I thought this movie was absolutely brilliant. Joaquin Phoenix obviously absolutely steals the show. He is the show. That's it. But it is just like an authentic spectacle of horror. It's so twisted and upsetting and it makes you feel so intensely. And I love when a movie does that. I love when it literally gets under your skin and makes you think and feel things that you didn't think you would be thinking or feeling or wanting to think or feel, but there you are, and it's happening, and the score is just echoing around you with all the bassy, spooky, It was just such a wild experience, and it was so good, and it was such a brilliant, beautifully depicted portrayal of the Joker because it was so Joker. It was absolutely 100% what a Joker movie should be, which is hard. It's tricky. He's very complex, and I think they just nailed it. And I could just praise this movie forever, so I'm gonna move on to number 1. Okay, so before I tell you what my number 1 is, I'm going to reiterate. This is absolutely by no means the best piece of cinema to come out of 2019. It's not. It's just not. I know. I know it's not.
It's false. No way. Not this time.
However, I think it was the most memorable movie-going experience of my life. I think it's something that myself and anyone else who feels this way will think about and talk about forever. Like, oh, you remember when this movie came out and we all went to see it? Like, yeah, like people are gonna talk about it because it was a spectacle. It was an event. And if you're not part of this community and you don't think that way, that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. I know it's not a perfect piece of cinema, but it's so special to me and it was so much fun. And that is Avengers Endgame. I know, there are so many amazing movies that came out in 2019. What the fuck are you talking about, Steph? Just listen. I have never had so much fun and felt so much pain while watching a movie in my life. Not to mention, this was like years and years of build-up and going to the movies with my friends, and every time a Marvel movie came out, we all went together, we all talked about it, we bought a whole row in the theater, and it was like an important event that happened in my life. And I will never forget watching this movie in the theater for the first time and the cheers from the audience and just the energy and the camaraderie that we all had together. It was just something really special. And I'm never gonna forget that. I'm never gonna forget the excitement of going to see Avengers Endgame for the first time with all my friends and talking about it afterwards and just like theorizing what it's gonna be, what's gonna happen over the years. It was just so much fun, and I truly believe people are going to talk about it forever. It was just a worldwide phenomenon, and I think that that's notable. So yeah, that is my list of my favorite top 10 movies of 2019. Feel free to disagree, totally fine. Let me know in the comments below what your top 10 movies of 2019 were, or what your top #1 movie was. And tell me what you're looking forward to seeing in 2020. What are you most anticipated to see? What's exciting that's coming out? What's happening? Tell me. Let's do this. But that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Steph Koza. Be sure to like this video if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And that's all I got. I will see you guys next time. Bye.